Wonderful. Well, welcome. Today we're going to talk about how to get Red Lobster out of the red zone to optimize peak performance. Now, when I say the red zone, what I'm talking about is high levels of stress. Do you know anyone who's experiencing any stress lately? I thought so. So when I think about the red zone, I can't help but think about a time I had when I was doing my postdoctoral training. I worked at a major medical center. It was my job as the consulting psychologist to help people who were dealing with trauma or an accident or a major health issue. And I'll never forget a particular client I had. We'll call him Roger. Roger was an electrician who was working on a wire that was supposed to be inactive. Unfortunately for Roger, it was quite active, such that when he touched the wire, a volt of current went through his body and burned him so severely that the doctors gave his wife the following option. We can let him die, or we can surgically amputate both of his arms to try to save his life. Whew. So the decision was made to surgically amputate both of Roger's arms. And it was my job as the psychologist to help him out, right? To help him deal with feeling helpless and hopeless and worthless. And I'll never forget walking up to Roger's room, right? My palms were sweaty. My heart was racing. I'm thinking, how am I going to help this guy? What am I going to do? What if I say something that makes it worse? And I remember knocking on the door and going in, and there was Roger. He was seated in a chair. And Roger had dark brown hair and a big bushy mustache. He had a smile on his face. Roger, what's going on? And he said to me, I am so grateful to be alive. I'm so grateful that my life has been saved. And I don't know why it was, but I know in my heart of hearts that I am here for a very important reason. And I can't wait to figure out what it is. Certainly not the reaction I was expecting. So what can we learn from Roger? What can we learn from Roger? Well, first of all, Roger wasn't in the red zone. I was in the red zone, right? I had the sweaty palms, the racing heart, the inner critic thinking, don't mess up. Roger wasn't in the red zone, which reminds us that it does not take a catastrophic event to put us in the red zone. We can get in the red zone for a myriad of reasons. The second thing that I want to talk about is how many people are in the red zone right now, right? This red zone, this high level of stress. 91% of workers report unmanageable stress. 91%. That means they're spending a lot of time in this red zone. But wait, there's more. 70% of workers report being burned out. That means they are living in the red zone. And when you are in the red zone, you cannot function at your peak performance. So we have a lot of people in the red zone. We have a lot of people who want help, right? 86% of workers believe that their organizations should help them supporting their mental well-being. I talk to leaders all the time. They say, Dr. E, I'm not a shrink. How am I going to help these people? You don't have to be a psychologist. You just have to help them get out of the red zone. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. What's the impact of the red zone? Red zone costs U.S. companies over $300 billion annually on things like absenteeism, right? Presenteeism, when your team's there, but they're not really there. Healthcare utilization and turnover. So there's a huge cost to people being in this psychological red zone. So I have a quick pop quiz for you. Quick pop quiz. I'm going to ask you questions, and if you respond yes, just raise your hand. Okay? Have you ever done or said something that you later regretted? Yeah? What'd you do? No, I'm kidding. Don't tell me. Have you ever avoided or procrastinated an important project because it just felt overwhelming? Yes, I got 2 hands up for that one. Have you ever been so stressed out that you couldn't focus or you couldn't sleep? Yeah. So if you answered yes to any of these, then you were in this psychological red zone. And it's impacting not only how you feel, but also how you function. So the opposite of the red zone is what I call the green zone. The green zone is low levels of distress, right? In the green zone, people are 31% more productive and have a 37% increase in sales. just take a step back for a minute. How many of you would like to get more done in less time? How many of you feel like you keep getting a lot of responsibilities on you and you just can't handle it? Getting out of the red zone and into the green zone is going to help you be so much more productive. And 37% increase in sales. I didn't have the pleasure of being in your meeting this morning, but I would bet a 37% increase in sales would be a really positive thing for you all, huh? And the beauty is that you're doing your marketing stuff, you're doing everything that you need to. And just by you getting out of this red zone, just by having your team and your organization function in this green zone, you're going to have an increase in sales. That's what the research out of Harvard shows. When people are in the green zone, there's also increased engagement, which corresponds to a 21% higher profitability. All great stuff. The second thing we learned from Roger is it's not events per se that put us in the red zone or out of the red zone. Right? Think about Roger. His mindset was not maybe what we expected. If you could stick a microphone in your brain, what would you hear yourself saying to yourself about certain situations? Guy over there is like, I'm glad no one can hear that. So I understand that, but think about it. It's what we say to ourselves that determines if we are in this red zone or not. And the beauty is we can't always change situations or circumstances, but we can always change our mindset. And when we address that mindset, that's when peak performance can happen. So my question for you is this. What if? What if, regardless of the situation, right? No matter how challenging, no matter how disruptive, no matter how uncertain or extreme, you could respond to stress like Roger? And what if you and your team could deal with stressful situations like Roger? Not just once, right? Not just twice, not just on a good day, but consistently. What if when you were faced with situations that were problematic, that were extreme, that were stressful, that were irritating, you could switch it around? It could spark something different in you, right? What if stress got the best from you instead of the best of you? And that's what we're going to talk about today. Specifically, we're going to explore how to transform your stress to optimize your peak performance so that you can be the worker, you can be the leader, you can be the person who you want to be. And to do that, we're going to look at two things. First, we're going to bust some myths. I don't know why I stumbled over that one. We're going to bust some myths that are actually keeping you in the red zone. And then we're going to learn a 3-step process of how you can act out of the red zone. Now, for those of you who like to take notes, I love that because I'm one of those people too. I'm going to offer you the opportunity to get a copy of these slides. So just sit back, relax, take it all in. All right, so let's talk about some myths. Let's talk about some myths that might keep you in the red zone. And by the way, this is all based on my newest book, Get Out of the Red Zone, Transform Your Stress to Optimize True Success. Okay, myth number 1, all stress is bad. All stress is bad. Here's the thing, all stress isn't bad. There's good stress and there's not so good stress. Good stress in psychology is what we call eustress. It's spelled E-U-S-T-R-E-S-S. That's the positive stress, right? And that's where Roger was. That's when we're facing a situation that maybe isn't great, but we're excited to make a difference. We're dedicated to making things better. This is a growth mindset, right? For some people, it's maybe when you're planning a vacation, right? Like you're excited, but it's kind of stressful. Or for other people, it's when they're getting married. A lot going on. For other people, it's when they're getting divorced. Right? Whatever it is, but it's that positive, looking forward to making positive changes. That's eustress. That's the good stress. That's what we want. Even during challenging times, that's the mindset we want to have.